A painful crash, but not the worst I'd been through. And just light turbulence for the other passengers, who had exoskeletons that would make a boulder jealous. Since the shipmakers had them in mind, rather than a stray human female looking for a cheap flight, I'd braced myself in a tight corner when we started going down. I unfolded my limbs with a wince and found most of the lights in the passageways dimmed. Anxious keening drifted down the hall, at just the right tone to make my eardrums itch. The same sound an alien crew member had made when he'd gotten caught in a hydraulic lift last week. I grimaced and started toward it. Here's hoping that it's not as bad as it sounds. I entered an open door to private quarters, where two of the hard-skinned passengers were scraping ice off of a table and making a symphony of whines that sounded like anxious hoverbikes. What happened? I asked. The small one with the markings of a juvenile male whirled, his backplates rattling in distress. "Precious creature, cold air," he exclaimed. "Cold air," he rattled harder, visibly frustrated with his imperfect allspeak. The tall one spoke up. "Vessel is having breach of hull," she explained over her armored shoulder. I realized I'd met her before. This was Grandma Mandibles, the matriarch of a small clan. Her allspeak was better. "Micrometeorite. The systems of emergency have sealed the hull, but tube of coolant runs through wall, is burst." I joined her at the table and found what looked like a frozen-over hamster cage, the thing inside ice-covered and immobile. Could have been a Thorkian fur piranha for all I knew. My vet training was strictly Earth-based. All I could say was its stillness was a bad sign. Junior ignored me while he clawed ice off the latch and pried the cage open. He clamped down on his rattling plates, but I felt the vibration through the floor as he lifted out the limp creature. I watched with growing concern while the alien tried to wake his pet to no avail. "Is it breathing?" I asked, wondering if it was supposed to. "No knowledge." Junior bobbed his head in uncertainty. "Need heat." He looked frantically around the room, finding only weak emergency lights. "Power being gone. What is heat?" I tilted my head. "Can't you just hold him close?" I gestured. "Isn't your body heat enough?" "What?" His pupils spiraled open and shut in confusion as he freed his talon to touch my arm. My talon still covered in ice. "Oh. Give him to me," I demanded, taking off my gloves and unzipping my flight suit. "Hurry!" With his eyes wide, the alien deposited the bundle of icy fur in my hands. Grandma Mandibles stopped searching when Junior exclaimed at the ice starting to melt. I held the beastie against my neck with my hands cupped around it, hoping it wasn't the biting sort, rubbing its fur and brushing the ice off, trying not to shiver as it dripped down my shirt. I spoke the traditional soothing words of my people. "Hey, little guy, you'll be fine. You gonna wake up for us? Please don't pee on me." After a few moments, I felt a wiggle. I held it up and witnessed a tiny sneeze. The alien uttered a joyful-sounding mishmash that could have been the creature's name. He reached out hesitant talons to stroke its fur, obviously wanting to hold it, but unwilling to remove it from my life-giving warmth. "He's shivering," I said. "That's a good sign. I think he'll be okay." The furball was starting to make faint rattling sounds of its own, which seemed oddly like purring. I was trying to figure out how it rattled without plates when a group of other hardskins arrived. Junior treated them to a dramatic retelling of how the human could bring animals back to life from icy death. I made a few modest interjections to keep the tale grounded in reality, but only a few. I'm not one to say no to some well-earned gratitude. Makes my day every time. My days continued to be made in the lengthy repair that followed. When the aliens showed their fascination with my exotic ability to create heat by moving, hardskins popped up left and right, asking me to warm things for them. I didn't mind. It was easy enough to soften somebody's energy bar or a block of fix-it putty by sticking it in my shirt for a few minutes. I was glad the heating system was fixed right away, though. Otherwise, I might have ended up doing jumping jacks in a small room for the common good. The hardskins reminded me of a lizard I'd had as a pet. Never more than room temperature, but oh so fond of outside heat sources. Their interest in my warm-blooded nature eventually gave way to an invitation to join their crew on complicated external repairs. I'd proven useful. Why yes, I do have slender fingers. Perfect for manipulating wires. I smiled as I followed the hulking forms of the repair crew toward the airlock. Now, let me show you what kind of climbing monkey my species is descended from. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed your time on the Starseeker. Everything I used for the video is in the description below. If there's a story you want to hear, let me know, and I'll reach out to the author and see if we can make that happen. It's a big universe out there, but remember to look up and seek the stars.